What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here for another edition of the weekly sports card market update, powered by our good friends over at ComC. Today, cover some news, some charts and graphs, hit on all three major sports, talk about some nonsense. Let's go ahead and just dive straight into it. First up, local show. Had my local Canton show on Saturday. Went decently busy. Actually, kind of busier than I thought. The weather was kind of crappy, which actually may be why it was pretty busy, just because it was a rainy, not really cold, but just a rainy, dreary morning, and a decent amount of people walking around. Room was full. Both rooms were full. I wasn't sure. I was only there. I had very limited time because I had a bunch of running around to do this morning, and then we have a wedding to go to. So I didn't have the normal time to peruse as long as I wanted to, but seemed busy. At least foot traffic was good anyway. So, as always, curious for your local show vibes in the comments down below. But that's what I was seeing at my local. I don't believe there was any big shows this weekend. I think we kind of start heading into that quiet time of year now, where I think there is one more Dallas show left. I think they usually do one before the holidays. I know Shipshawana typically does a November show. They're not, but I believe Brad is hosting a smaller show in Fort Wayne on Black Friday. I'm debating maybe running out to that. I am not planning on it. But if I wake up Friday morning at a reasonable time and don't really have anything going on, I might hop in the car and run out there. It's about 3 hours. We'll see. But this is the time of year where one, people begin to run out of cash and run out of time. Christmas gifts need bought, Hanukkah gifts, whatever it is that you all celebrate. And then, really, to me, I think the bigger crunch isn't so much always the cash side of things. I think it's legitimately just time. People just get busy this time of year. You have stuff to do on the weekends. The wife, the kids, the boyfriend, the significant other, whatever it is, they got plans for us. It could be Christmas parties, holiday parties, different family gatherings, Halloween parties, trick or treating, Christmas tree picking out, stuffing a turkey. Just a lot happening at the very end of the year here. And I think that impacts card shows. And it's also, I think, why you don't see a lot of card shows in November and December typically. It always seems like this is the time of year where it's very doom and gloom around shows. And then we get to the beginning of the year and like Culture Collision, which is one of the first big shows out of the gate, or something along those lines. One of those mid-size regional shows just pop off because it's been like 2 months and everyone's jonesing to get to a bigger card show. I know the March Shipshawana show. I'm always really jazzed to go to that because it's usually like the first travel show that I go to start the year. Dustin and Steve are trying to talk me into going to Atlanta. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, first of the year always seems like card shows come out of the year strong. People probably get their tax returns back, all that. But the general world economy sucks right now. The general world, just in general, it kind of sucks right now. And that is definitely trickling down to collectibles all across the board. I am seeing big key comic books sell for record lows. We're seeing big sports card sales for record lows. People are feeling the pinch and the crunch. So buckle up, Buttercup, as Rudy likes to say. And we'll just kind of see what happens and take the deals where we could get them. eBay auctions are definitely the way right now. Other things going on in the sports card world. People are beginning to gear up for Black Friday. Our friends over at ComC, they have announced their plans for Black Friday with different promotional specials. If you sell certain dollar amounts over Black Friday and Cyber Monday week, you get discounts on submissions going forward. All the details can be found over on the ComC blog. Their live selling seems to be particularly popular. I've heard a lot of people having success moving cards via that platform. I haven't had a chance to submit anything yet, and then they still have a couple submission specials going on as well. So go ahead and get your stuff out to them. I will be boxing up another order to send out to ComC, probably of a bunch of Marvel anime stuff. I've been opening boxes of Marvel Anime up, and I need to figure out what my plan of attack is with that set, and then I will be moving the stuff that I am not planning to keep off to ComC to get that stuff moved over there. So that's the plan with that. Go check out our friends over on ComC if you haven't already. Submit some cards to them. Go buy some cards. Great deals to be had. As I've been saying for weeks, I continue to kind of just build the bankroll over on the platform to prepare myself for Marvel Masterpieces singles coming over there and being able to target some higher end stuff and basically essentially trade in a bunch of lower end stuff by selling it over there and picking up something on the nicer side. Diving into just some general newsy stuff. World Series is going on, and we had our Tacofractor cashed in. Kettle Marte stole the first base. There was a couple sales of this card throughout the year. One of these sold 3 different times, which is just kind of funny to see laid out like this. Good old eBay. This sold at the beginning of August for $300. Probably didn't get paid for. Sold again for $445. Probably didn't get paid for. Sold again for $297. So these people here got a deal. I don't know what this one sold for in September. This person right here is probably not feeling too great. This just sold a couple days ago. Hopefully we don't see any package intercept things going on. This sold for $1,000. I went and looked it up over on 130 Point. Sold for $1,000. If you don't know, so the Tacofractor thing is whoever stole the first base, you get Taco Bell for life, which equates out to a $15,000 Taco Bell gift card. If you can eat $15,000 worth of Taco Bell, you're probably not living your maximum life expectancy. And this is coming from someone that likes Taco Bell on occasion. Every once in a while, you just got to make a run for that border. You need that fourth meal. So whoever sold that one's probably feeling the burn a little bit. Those are the only 3 I've seen surface so far. So there's 2 others out there potentially somewhere. Not saying that they all have to sell on eBay. So the lucky winner of that gets themselves, those 5 people get themselves a truckload of Taco Bell for the foreseeable future. We've talked about this. There's definitely some criticism to be thrown at Top/Fanatics in the quality control department. And I get the Tacofractor thing is not for everybody. In my opinion, that is legit a good marketing gimmick/scheme. And once again, they probably didn't have to pay anything for it. Taco Bell probably fit the bill for all of it for the cross promotion of it. Speaking of cool Fanatics things, we got our finally got our first look at the MLB debut patches. Remember, this was their big announcement at the beginning of the year, this revolutionary thing that was going to change the hobby. And essentially what it was, any rookie that started this year in their first game, they wore these little MLB debut patches. And then, so the player gets to keep his, first game worn jersey if he so chooses to. They just peel this patch off, and then the patch goes on the card. And the thing that I like about this, and a few people have commented on this, if you notice here on the image, and I don't know that they're all like this, the ones that I glanced at were, it is an image of them wearing the jersey with the patch on it. So this is a photo from that first game, which I think is kind of cool. These are all 101. These are in Topps Chrome update. It will be very, very interesting to see what these go for out of the gate. They are 1/1s, obviously. There's only one of them because there was only one patch, so no duplicate 1/1s. But these actually, I think, in my opinion, this turned out really nice. Listen, will I ever own one of these? Probably not. They're probably going to sell for absolute astronomical sums of money. This is essentially very similar to like a rookie logo man. Obviously, it's not the MLB logo. There are rookie logo men in Topps Dynasty, I believe, has that. But this is probably even better than that because it is the debut patch. It was a patch that they wore in their first game ever. These are just really cool concept. Eventually Fanatics will be our overlords and they'll have all the sports. They will 100% do something like this for basketball and football. This seems to be extremely successful. It's generated a lot of buzz, and I'm sure these are going to sell for a lot of money. I'm not planning on ripping any Topps Chrome update. I guess if I run into like some retail or something, maybe, but I doubt it. So I won't have a chance to rip any of these. I get it. A lot of people won't be able to afford this. It's not for everybody, but it is a fun chase, and they do look really, really nice. I'm impressed with what they pulled off with this. It'll be interesting to see what they look like in hand or in photos once they're actually, in the real world. But once again, we could criticize them on some stuff, but it is only fair to give them props on things that they do correctly. And this one is pretty cool. Cool concept. It's not revolutionary. They overblew it a little bit when they announced all this, but I am pretty pleased with the way that those look, and I do think that they are really, really cool cards. They get that debut patch that they did wear, and then they did it, like I said, they did a good job with those photos on that as well. I just saw this before I started recording. I'm in the Sports Card Nonsense Facebook page, and I saw a post that Card Shop Live is going to be shutting down. I don't have any details on this one. I believe they're going to talk about it on a podcast. I think Mike covered it on a stream on the app itself. So I don't have any real deep dive details on this one. I'm sure they will get into it and talk about it in depth, but just kind of throwing it out there that Card Shop Live is closing down. If you're not familiar with Card Shop Live, it was essentially like a Whatnot / Fanatics Live / eBay Live streaming platform. Say what you will, they're not for me. Live streaming platforms are just not for me. It's not the way that I want to buy cards, but they do generate a lot of sales. Now, the problem is you're competing with the big boys. They try to kind of do something on their own, but when you're competing against Whatnot, which is a massive company, eBay, which is a massive company, and now Fanatics, who's entering the space, has entered the space with Fanatics Live, that's just tough. And I'd be curious to know, and I don't know if they'll get into the weeds on this or not. I'm wondering how much Fanatics Live coming into the space and maybe trying to get sellers exclusively is beginning to impact some of these other places. I don't know that for sure. That's pure speculation on my part, and it could have absolutely nothing to do with it. But you have to wonder, as a seller, if Fanatics comes knocking on your door and says, hey, we'd like you to sell over here, and we have access to the product, and we could give you access to that product because we're Fanatics, I'd have to imagine that would be a very powerful pitch. So, Geo still does a lot of breaks. They still do a lot of breaks. We'll see where they end up at. Just because Card Shop Live shutting down, I believe they will still be selling on a live platform somewhere. I am sure someone will be wanting to negotiate with them because of their social following with the podcast and the Facebook group and everything else. So just kind of throwing that out there. Only so much space in the hobby for some of these ancillary companies, and the big boys will be the ones to always survive. Let's pop over and look at some charts and graphs. Powered by Market Movers, our friends over at Market Movers. Link in the description down below. If you want your own charts and graphs, you can check it out. There's a discount code down there if you want to poke around on these yourself. First up, basketball. Basketball season is back. It has started. We are a couple days in. The struggle is real for my Cleveland Cavaliers off the get. They are battling a lot of different injuries, and it has showed on the court. They got smoked by the Pacers tonight. They had a heartbreak loss to the Thunder on Friday night. They had a back-to-back. They have 4 games in 6 nights off the rip. A bunch of players hurt. Strus looks really good, so that's a plus. My couple takeaways from the first couple nights of the season, and I haven't obviously caught every single game. Chet Holmgren looked really good, at least in the game against the Cavs. He had like a double-double and like 7 blocks, hit a big 3. He's looked really, really good. Tatum has come out playing extremely well. Memphis has come out struggling. That was one of kind of my hot takes, is that they would be fighting for a play-in spot. Memphis looks like they're a little bit rough shape. Denver picked up right where they left off. So fun start to the league so far. Magic look really fun. They've been fun to watch on a couple games that I've tuned into. Pacers look really good. Those were 2 teams that I said that I liked from a coming out of the woodwork type thing, though they were very trendy across the board. Everyone kind of loved those 2 teams. Embiid had a big night the other night, so we're just kind of right back into it. I think Zach LaVine dropped a 50 burger of all players, though I believe they still lost that game. Whoops. Cades looked good to start the season. Prices really haven't moved much. We're only a couple days in. This is the silver prisms in regards to the going up version of PSA 10s over the last 14 days. Top of the block is Zion. I have not caught a Pelicans game yet. I will have to dig through and check try to track down a Pelicans game at some point in time. So if you've watched any Zion, let me know what you think he looks like in the comments down below. But I have not caught any of their games. I've heard like good things on podcasts and stuff. Desmond Bain up a little bit, KJ up a little bit, Edwards up a little bit. Wemby, oh yeah, Wemby's looked pretty good. He had a bad first game, got in a little bit of foul trouble. They didn't get on the ball. Second game looked much, much better. I watched a decent chunk of that game on League Pass. SGA's been playing really good. You can see him on the slightly going up list. So still a ton of time to kind of see how this all filters out. And the interesting part will be when we actually get officially licensed Wemby cards hitting the market in mass. We still don't have anything crazy on that. We're not going to have Prism for a while, Optic for a while, Select for a while, all that sort of nonsense. But we should be getting into some of the lower end entry level products that come out first to chase. No autographs because mom and dad are fighting, but they will. I had a discussion with this at the local show today with one of the dealers that I talk to all the time. They are probably going to parallel the hell out of Victor Wembanyama. There will be out of everything. There'll be every swirly disco purple ball that Dakota used to talk about in existence. They will slap it up one side and down the other of his cards because they don't have autos. It's going to be tricky about Wemby is actually finding cards that might hold value long term, and you don't even have on-card autos to go after. So be careful out there with him. His stuff, I think, is going to get absolutely printed to the moon. They've known he's been coming forever. It's just going to be tricky. I have no idea what of his cards will hold value long term because you can't even go to the tried and true on-card rookie auto because they're not going to exist, at least in a Spurs uniform. So is it a Color Blast? Is it a Kaboom? Is it a Downtown? I don't know. But that will be kind of something interesting to track once his product starts hitting the market. Switching over to baseball. Game 2 of the World Series is going on basically as I am recording, so I have not been paying any attention to that. Adolis Garcia, he was the big hero of the playoffs so far. He had the massive home run. His card prices took off based off those last couple games of the ALCS. This is his first Bowman and his rookie Topps Chrome auto. You could see they were just treading right along, doing their own thing, and then looked like a freaking roller coaster at Cedar Point, just going straight up to the moon. And I assume those will probably start coming back down fairly quickly here, unless he has a hell of a World Series. I don't know how many times we got to say it when stuff like this spikes. Just move it. Don't get cute. They let you buy him back. Garcia is an absolutely fantastic player. I don't know that he has any long-term staying power hobby-wise. This feels like a very much in-the-moment thing. He's a very good fantasy player. I've had him on a lot of different best ball teams, and he's done quite well for me. But I believe he's an older prospect, too. I don't think he's very young. Next, the baseball. Just some big names trending down. We talked about Ellie and Julio a couple times over the last month or so. But over the last 90 days, man, out of sight, out of mind. Here's just some random not random, these are some pretty big names. First Bowman, just base, non-refractor autos, PSA 10. This is over the last 90 days, so that basically takes you back to just before August, right around the National, essentially. Ellie De La Cruz, he was the hottest thing in the midsummer. PSA 10, First Bowman, down 45%. That's a $600 card now. Ouch. J-Rod down to 900. I think we talked about him last week. That's a 26% drop since the National. Juan Soto only down about 10%, but the PSA 10 First Bowman of that card is now down to 1.6K. That's way down from its all-time highs. And last but not least, I threw Fernando Tatis in there more because I was just kind of curious what he was going for. Interesting to kind of see him essentially priced the same as J-Rod at just under 900. J-Rod's right about 950, but he is down 40% as well. I would much rather have the Julio Rodriguez card than the Fernando Tatis card for the same amount of money. Population count on the Tatis is slightly lower, but J-Rod doesn't have the steroids hanging around him like Tatis does. I know some people don't care about that. To me, it's kind of whatevs, but the market cares, and that's what really matters. So just kind of interesting to see a lot of this high-end baseball is really getting beat up right now. Now, is that because it's trending towards the off season? Maybe this is typically the time that the stuff declines, or does it go back to kind of what we were talking about earlier with just the general world sucking right now all around, and that impacting collectible prices on a broader market? Like I said, generally speaking, around Thanksgiving is one of the best times to buy baseball historically. We will see if that stays true. The other thing I should throw out that I should have mentioned at the top, we are quickly approaching Black Friday. It is never a bad idea to kind of start. I don't know how you budget yourself for your collectibles. Maybe hold off on any crazy purchases for a little bit. I have a feeling there is probably going to be some really good Black Friday deals, especially on wax, at like Dave and Adams Blowout, etc. Me personally, I'm gonna be looking for TCG wax. Like if someone's blowing out Pokemon wax, my eyes and ears will be open on that to potentially go make some moves. Same with anything cool Magic related, and then if there's any good sports card sets that come up. I know I bought the 2017 Optic Mega Football box last year at Black Friday. Those were going for like $275, I think, and those are well over $500 now. Mine's still sitting behind me on the shelf. So keep that in mind. Black Friday is rapidly approaching. It'll be here before you know it, and there are typically some pretty good deals to be had. Meant to mention that earlier. Let's finish up looking at a little bit of football really quick, and then get the hell out of here. Rookie quarterback index continues to get hammered. It is ugly in the QB streets. We're going to look at two specifically here in a minute, but on a more macro level. We're going back 60 days. That essentially takes us to the beginning of the season. The 2021 class is down 43%. Ouch. 2020 class down 17%, almost 18%. 2018 down 10%, and 2017, that's the Watson class, down 12%. The 2021 class has gotten absolutely hammered this year. And the 2020 class, in all honesty, not doing much better, as Herbert has really struggled this year. Or the Chargers more so than Herbert. And then Burrow started extremely slow. Now he's turned it on a little bit. They're coming off a bye. We'll see what he does. But the two poster boys from 2020 are on shaky legs at best so far this season. Let's look at two guys specifically. These two guys were the golden children of the football season so far, and the shine has come off on at least one of them to a degree. Brock Purdy is that top dark blue line, silver PSA 10. This is going back 90 days, so essentially to the National. Once again, since the National, he's up quite a bit. You're up 130% on that card, but you kind of see nothing goes up forever. It kind of peaked a couple weeks ago, and then since that Browns loss, my Cleveland Browns destroyed your Brock Purdy prices. Since then, it has basically been a downward spiral. I saw he went in the concussion protocol this week, and there was a chance that Sam Darnold was going to start, and then I saw he got cleared today. So he will start tomorrow, but his stuff has been getting absolutely beat up the last couple weeks. This card got all the way up to 1.3K on the 12th of October, just a mere 2 weeks-ish ago, and is now down to just under $900. That's a pretty steep drop in a very short amount of time. And then Tua as well. He's not necessarily crashing. One hasn't sold for a couple days, but he has flatlined. Back at the National, it was going for about $500, and you could see we got to that 900-ish price range, and it seems to have leveled off right around there. We had a couple there. It dipped back down again a little bit to the 700s, and now it's back up to 9 at last sale. And now we'll kind of see where it goes from here. But for a long time, Brock had jumped Tua. They were kind of running neck and neck. And now, depending on kind of where the next sales of these go, Tua could be jumping back over Brock. We'll kind of see what happens there. So even those two have been playing really well. Tua's still been playing good, and his card prices have flatlined. Maybe someone goes on a run here. Maybe Burrow's prices rebound. He's back from the bye. Maybe they go on a massive run and get on a heater. He starts bombing away to Jamar Chase left and right. We have seen this happen before. Actually, it was specifically with Burrow, where Burrow's stuff was trending down quite a bit in season. Then he got hot, and that was when they ran to the AFC Championship game, and his card prices really took off. Maybe something like that happens with one of the existing players. Maybe the economy sucks so bad right now that it doesn't make a difference. I don't know. But football is in a pretty dark place at the moment in regards to card prices. At least I should specify that the quarterback market, the high-end quarterback market, which is not surprising because as we like to talk about, there's a lot baked into those prices. So that's all I got for you, boys and girls. We will catch you on the next one. Oh, tomorrow. Spicy one. That's the PSA video on the PSA 6. You will not want to miss that one. Tune in. 9 a.m. Monday morning, unless something wild happens in the world. That video will go live. So check that one out tomorrow. You'll like it, I am sure. We will catch you then. Have a good week of NFL football. Peace.